Good morning everyone. Today we will cover disorder of thyroid gland, which is on page number 792. So to proceed, first you should understand the anatomy and physiology part of the thyroid stimulating hormone. This TSH is synthesized by the anterior lobe of pituitary, and its release is stimulated by thyrotropin releasing hormone TRH from hypothalamus, and it stimulate growth and activity of thyroid gland, and thyroid gland secrete two important hormone T3 and T4. T3 is also known as triiodothyronine and T4 is known as thyroxine, and both these hormones are known as thyroid hormone, and the secretion is regulated by negative feedback mechanism. We can understand the negative feedback with this flow diagram. This hypothalamus, the first step is it will release thyrotropin releasing hormone, that is TRH, and due to that hormone, this anterior lobe of pituitary gland is stimulated, and it will release TSH hormone, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. So it will stimulate thyroid gland to secrete two important hormone T3 and T4, and that will release in the blood. Then these hormones will be utilized by the body, so there will be lower level of this hormone. So when there will be lower level of T3 and T4, then it will stimulate hypothalamus to produce T3 and T4 ultimately. And when the level of these hormone in the blood rises, then it will inhibit hypothalamus to produce T3 and T4. So in this way, through the negative feedback, the release of T3 and T4 is controlled. So now we will see disorder of the thyroid gland. So whenever there will be level of T3 and T4 either rises or either decreases, it will lead to further complication of thyroid gland. So if the T3 and T4 level increases, then it will causes hyperthyroidism, and if the level of T3 and T4 decreases, it will causes hypothyroidism. Hyperthyroidism is also known as thyrotoxicosis because body tissue are exposed to excessive level of T3 and T4, and the main effects are due to increased basal metabolic rate, and the main causes are grave disease, toxic nodular goiter, and toxic adenoma that we will see in detail. So let's start with Graves' disease. This Graves' disease accounts for around 75% of cases of hyperthyroidism, and it is also known as base dose disease, primary hyperplasia, that is increase in number of parenchymal cell, exophthalmic goiter, and a diffuse toxic goiter. And it is characterized by a triad, that is three combined features: hyperthyroidism, diffuse thyroid enlargement, and ophthalmopathy. Now we will see the etiopathogenesis. It is an autoimmune disorder, and in which antibody that mimic the effect of TSH is produced, and it is also having the genetic factor association, means among the family, if anyone is affected, then there are the chances of transmitting this disease to next generation. And there is also association between the same families, or the two disease may coexist in the same patient, means it is associated with some other disease also. And beside these two factors, it is also higher prevalence in women, because women are mainly associated with emotional stress, so the women are more prone to having this thyroid disease. And fourth one is auto antibodies, which are produced by thyroid gland, and this antibodies attack our immune system, and that's why it is regarded as autoimmune disorder. So these are a few example you have to list it. Thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin, then thyroid growth stimulating immunoglobulin, and TSH binding inhibitor immunoglobulin. And it is not clear whether the B cells form these antibodies through which mechanism. So mostly maybe CD4 helper T cell are responsible for stimulating our beta cell to secrete this autoantibodies. So with this we have finished Graves' disease. Let's come to toxic nodular goiter or the goiter. So goiter, as you know, it is a thyroid enlargement, and it is caused by hyperplasia and hypertrophy, that is increase in size as well as increase in number of parenchymal cells. So it is the end results of thyroid deficiency, and it is of two type: diffuse goiter, that is also known as simple non-toxic goiter, and second one is a nodular goiter that we will see. So first you must understand the pathogenesis of the goiter. So that is mainly due to lack of the iodine in your food. So due to the lack of the iodine, there will be less production of thyroid hormone, that is T3 and T4. And in the absence of thyroid hormone, the TSH will be stimulated more to produce T3 and T4 to make a compensation. And in this trial, or in this practice of compensating, that gland will be enlarged, resulting in formation of goiter. Now we will see first type, that is the diffuse goiter. It is a simple non-toxic or colloidal goiter, you can say, and the name is given because it is a diffuse enlargement of the thyroid gland, and it is not associated by hyperthyroidism. Now it is again further subclassified into two types, that is first one is the endemic goiter, that occur due to such endemic areas are several high mountain region, and those are very far from the sea, so where iodine content of drinking water and food is low, like the region of Himalayas and Alps. And so the person from that geographical area will be suffer from goiter. And the second is a non-endemic goiter or the sporadic goiter, and these are the factors which are responsible for such factor. Second one is the nodular goiter, which is also known as a toxic nodular goiter, and it when a person is suffering from simple goiter and it is of the long duration, then it may convert into the nodular goiter. So in this nodular goiter, there will be the tumor like enlargement of the thyroid gland, and due to the presence of nodules means small clumps. So due to that, tumor like enlargement of thyroid gland takes place, and it is much more dangerous as compared to simple goiter, because it may choke due to the compression of esophagus and trachea, and it may also cause dysphagia, that is a difficulty in swallowing of the food. So that's why it is regarded as a toxic nodular goiter. You can see in this flow diagram, the simple goiter is converted into the nodular goiter, and simple goiter is only a diffuse goiter without the presence of any nodules, and here you can see small nodules are there, so it leads to the formation of tumor like enlargement of thyroid gland. So with this we have covered toxic nodular goiter. Now come to toxic adenoma. It is given in Ross and Wilson book in a very concise manner, so you have to write this paragraph only. Adenoma is related to tumor of thyroid gland. So as we know, tumor are of two type, malignant and benign. So malignant tumor are very rare in thyroid gland, and in benign tumor single adenomas are fairly common and it may become cystic. So sometimes it secrete hormone, and hyperthyroidism also may develop, and this especially take place in elderly patients. So if the question is asked on disorder of thyroid gland, then you have to draw this diagram, and Graves disease you have to explain in detail with a little description on toxic nodular goiter and toxic adenoma. And if Graves disease is asked specifically, then you have to explain in detail. Now hypothyroidism you can describe in very short, that is a decreased level of T3 and T4, and this may lead to myxedema and cretinism. For cretinism, refer the page number 794. So it is a severe hypothyroidism, and it is present at birth, or maybe within first 2 years of the after the birth of the child. So the child may be physically and mentally retarded, and you may list down this few pathogenesis of this cretinism. On the another hand, when the adult suffer from hypothyroidism, then it will causes myxedema, and there are a few reasons behind the pathogenesis of this, so you can list out these reasons. So with this we have finished disorder of thyroid gland. Thank you.